In the heart of New York City, where the streets hum with the constant rhythm of ambition, success, and urgency, one man's world seems worlds apart from the towering skyscrapers, luxury cars, and the noise of the crowd. Amidst the glitter and clamor, a homeless man named Ethan sits at the edge of it all. His sign, worn and faded, reads simply, "just need a chance." With ragged clothes clinging to his body and hope flickering faintly in his eyes, he watches as the world moves past him, almost as if he doesn't exist. The city is alive with people on their way to meetings, appointments, and the next big deal. Yet, here in the shadows of their busy lives, Ethan is a silent figure, fading into the background of the bustling streets. No one stops. No one looks twice. But then, something unusual happens. A sleek, black limousine glides up to the curb, breaking the rhythm of the city. The sound of the engine fades into the background as the car door opens. Out steps a figure, and the camera focuses on him, the one and only Jeff Bezos. A tech mogul whose name is synonymous with wealth, success, and ambition. Surrounded by an entourage, he moves with purpose, heading toward an exclusive summit, his briefcase in hand, and his thoughts focused on the next big innovation. But as Jeff strides past, a voice cuts through the hum of the crowd, Ethan's voice. "Excuse me, sir. Can you help me?" The moment is suspended in time. Jeff pauses, his gaze turning slowly toward the man. The camera zooms in on his face, revealing no immediate sign of judgment or disdain, just a neutral expression, calm, but with a hint of curiosity. And here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. In a moment that will leave you questioning everything about compassion, empathy, and the choices we make in the face of life's harshest realities, Jeff Bezos, the billionaire whose name echoes across the world, asks a question that will stop you in your tracks. Why should I? This isn't just another encounter. It's a confrontation between two worlds. One has everything, while the other is struggling to survive. But what happens next, my friends, will redefine the very core of humanity. Stay with us because what Jeff does next is something you won't believe. Jeff Bezos. His name alone carries weight. He is the embodiment of calculated brilliance, a man whose rise to billionaire status wasn't fueled by chance, but by relentless ambition, strategic thinking, and an unyielding drive. To the world, he's a pioneer, a philanthropist who's reshaped industries and broken barriers. But there's more to Jeff than meets the eye. His success is built on an unwavering, no-nonsense approach to life, one that leaves little room for anything that doesn't promise a return on investment. He's always looking for the next big thing, the next big idea, something that could change the world. And today, standing at the intersection of New York's chaos and chance, he faces an unexpected encounter that will force him to confront something much deeper than just another business opportunity. And then there's Ethan. Ethan is not the man you might expect to see sitting on a street corner, holding up a tattered sign. He wasn't always homeless. No, this was a man who once held the promise of a future filled with possibilities. A former software engineer, Ethan had worked tirelessly on his dream, a startup with the potential to change urban living as we know it. But fate has a cruel way of testing our resolve. His company failed spectacularly, drowning in mounting debt. One mistake after another, and suddenly he found himself with nothing. The comfortable life he once knew had crumbled, leaving him in the unforgiving streets of New York City. Yet, even in the depths of his despair, there's a spark in his eyes. A determination, an unyielding hope that one day he will find his way back. The camera zooms in on Jeff, standing in the silence between the hum of the city and the tension of this unexpected moment. He looks at Ethan, his expression unreadable, calculating the next move. For a moment, it seems like he might walk away, like he's seen this scene 1,000 times before. But instead, he chooses something different, something that catches everyone off guard. Rather than dismissing Ethan, Jeff engages him, his voice calm but deliberate. If I help you, how will you prove you're worth the investment? Ethan doesn't flinch. There's no hesitation, no second-guessing in his response. In fact, his voice is filled with a quiet passion as he begins to speak of his vision. He talks about a tech app, one that could revolutionize urban living, streamlining services, connecting communities, and making everyday life more efficient. It's clear that Ethan is no ordinary man. The fire that once fueled his dreams is still alive in him, despite the years of struggle. He paints a picture of what could be, of what the future might look like if only someone would take a chance on him. Jeff listens intently, his brow furrowed as he processes every word. His entourage, standing just behind him, begins to murmur amongst themselves. "This is a waste of time," one of them whispers. "We've got places to be." He's just another guy with an idea. But Jeff doesn't move. There's something in Ethan's words that resonates with him, something that stops him from brushing this encounter off. The tension in the air thickens as Jeff's gaze lingers on Ethan, and for the first time, a crack appears in the steely armor of the man who's used to calling the shots. The situation escalates. Word of this unexpected conversation quickly spreads, and before long, the media begins to catch wind of the interaction. Camera flashes pop, and reporters rush toward the scene, shouting questions at Jeff, at Ethan, demanding answers, eager to know what's happening. The pressure builds not just from the media, but from the growing crowd that begins to form. The sound of clicking cameras fills the air, and tense strings add a layer of suspense to the unfolding drama. Jeff's entourage is getting impatient, urging him to leave before this turns into a spectacle. But something holds him back. His eyes remain fixed on Ethan, whose voice, calm yet passionate, rises above the chaos. In that moment, time seems to slow. The choice Jeff faces is more than just about whether or not to help a man on the street. It's about investing in a dream, a possibility. It's about something far more intangible than numbers and profit margins. It's about hope, resilience, and the chance to change the trajectory of someone's life, even if the odds are stacked against them. What will Jeff do next? Will he walk away, leaving Ethan to face another day of uncertainty? Or will he take a chance on the man with a dream that could change the world? The music swells, and the camera lingers on their faces, the billionaire and the dreamer. The crowd watches, breathless, as the story unfolds before them, and before all of us. The world watches in silence as the tension reaches its peak. Jeff Bezos, the billionaire whose every word is a calculated move, stands before Ethan, his expression unreadable. The hum of the city, the flashes of cameras, the murmurs of the crowd, all fade into the background as Jeff leans forward, his voice cutting through the noise. Asterisk, what would you do with $10,000 right now? Ethan doesn't hesitate. He's prepared for this moment. He has thought about it 1,000 times, and imagined what he would do if he had the chance to get back on his feet, to rebuild the dream he once had. He lays out a plan, carefully thought out, detailed, pragmatic. His vision is clear, his ideas are solid. But what Ethan doesn't know is that Jeff is not looking for just a plan. He's looking for something more. Something that will push Ethan to prove that he is more than just a man with a story. Jeff's eyes were narrow as he processes Ethan's response. Then, with a calmness that sends a ripple of shock through the crowd, he delivers a statement that no one expects. Asterisk, let's make it $100,000. Prove me wrong. The words hang in the air, heavier than anything that's been said before. Ethan's heart skips a beat. $100,000? An amount he could only dream of, an amount that could change everything. The crowd is stunned into silence, unsure of whether this is a joke or a challenge. But there's one catch, one twist that no one saw coming. Jeff doesn't hand over the money directly. Instead, he offers Ethan something far more valuable, something that could make or break everything. Asterisk, you'll get the funds if you can pitch this idea to my board tomorrow. A collective gasp rises from the onlookers. The stakes have just skyrocketed. This isn't just about a handout. This isn't about charity or sympathy. This is a test, one that could either catapult Ethan into a new life or leave him crushed under the weight of the expectations placed upon him. Ethan's excitement begins to shift into something darker, anxiety. Less than 24 hours. That's all the time he has. He must now refine a pitch that will not only win over Jeff Bezos, but a room full of the most influential minds in the business world. It's not just about having a great idea. It's about proving that his idea is worth taking a risk on, that he's worth the investment. The pressure is mounting and Ethan knows it. The camera closes in on his face as the realization sinks in. He has no time to waste. His dream is hanging by a thread, and every moment counts. Jeff doesn't leave him to face this challenge alone. With a flick of his hand, he arranges for Ethan to stay at a nearby hotel, a comfortable room, but not a sanctuary. Time is against him. The clock is ticking, and Jeff's assistant is dispatched to help Ethan refine his pitch, to polish every detail, every word, until it's perfect. In the sterile light of the hotel room, Ethan begins to work. His fingers fly over his laptop, his mind racing with thoughts, ideas, and self-doubt. He's no stranger to pressure, but this is different. The weight of the opportunity presses on him like a physical force. What if I fail? The thought gnaws at him, but he pushes it aside. What if this is my only chance? He works through the night, eyes bloodshot, mind weary, but determined. Every draft, every revision, feels like a battle. The hours blur together as Ethan grapples with his own doubts, about himself, about the viability of his idea, about whether he's really ready for this kind of moment. It's no longer just about the money. It's about proving to himself, and to Jeff, that he has what it takes. And yet, even as the anxiety churns inside him, Ethan's determination shines through. He won't give up. He won't back down. This is the chance he's been waiting for, the moment that could redefine his life. He's been down, but he's not out. Not yet. Outside, the city continues to pulse with energy, oblivious to the inner turmoil of one man racing against time. The night stretches on, and Ethan's world narrows down to one singular focus. The pitch. Tomorrow. The board. $100,000. The clock ticks louder. The world waits. The morning of the pitch has arrived. Ethan stands in a sleek, modern conference room, one that's far removed from the cold streets he once called home. The air is thick with anticipation as he faces a sea of sharp, skeptical eyes. Jeff Bezos, the billionaire who challenged him, is seated at the head of the table. Around him, a group of executives, their expressions unreadable, watches every move Ethan makes. Each of them is a master in their own right, a gatekeeper of opportunities, and the weight of their judgment presses down on him. Ethan feels the heat of their gaze, the pressure of 1,000 expectations resting on his shoulders. This is it. This is the moment that could change everything. His hands are clammy as he clicks to start his presentation, the slides illuminating the room with data, charts, and projections. His voice is steady and measured as he begins to speak with the passion of a man who's fought through the darkness to reach this point. But as he moves through his pitch, disaster strikes. The projector flickers. The slides freeze. A technical issue that seems small at first becomes a mountain, one that Ethan can't climb. The room falls silent, the once optimistic buzz now replaced by tension. Ethan's heart races in his chest as he fumbles with the controls, trying to salvage the situation. But the words in his head seem to blur, the diagrams on the screen meaningless in the face of his mounting failure. For a brief moment, time seems to stretch on forever, and the executives exchange glances. Doubt fills the room, thick and suffocating. It feels like every second is slipping away from him. And then, in that vulnerable silence, something shifts in Ethan. A wave of realization washes over him. The slides, the charts, they don't matter. He's been hiding behind them, relying on data and projections, as if they were the key to his success. But what he has to offer isn't just numbers. It's his story, his belief, his dream. Without hesitation, Ethan steps away from the screen. The slides remain frozen, but he doesn't need them anymore. He looks at the board, his voice cracking slightly as he begins to speak from the heart, abandoning the polished facade of the presentation. He talks about his struggles, the failed startup, the debt, the lost opportunities. He talks about the pain of watching everything he worked for slip through his fingers. And then he shares his vision, not as a business opportunity, but as a call to action. He talks about his belief in second chances, in the power of resilience, in the undeniable need for a solution that could change the way cities function. He speaks with a raw honesty that catches everyone in the room off guard. This is no longer a pitch. This is a man, vulnerable and unguarded, offering everything he has in the hope that someone will believe in him. As Ethan pours his soul into the room, something shifts. The skepticism on the executive's faces softens. The silence lingers, but it's no longer uncomfortable, it's contemplative. They begin to see Ethan not just as a man with a failed past, but as someone who embodies the very spirit of innovation, the courage to fail and get back up, the drive to push forward, and the unshakable belief that even the hardest struggles can lead to something extraordinary. The room is still. Every eye is fixed on Ethan, and in that moment, it feels like the world is holding its breath. The tension hangs in the air, thick with possibility. What will Jeff do? Will he dismiss Ethan, leaving him to pick up the shattered pieces of his dream? Or will he take a chance on this man, on his vision, on his unrelenting belief? Finally, after what seems like an eternity, Jeff leans back in his chair. A small, almost imperceptible smile plays at the corner of his lips. The board watches him, waiting for his verdict. "You've got guts," Jeff says, his voice calm, but with a certain weight behind it. Asterisk, let's make it happen. The words hang in the air, and for a moment, the world stops. Ethan's eyes widen as the reality of what's happening sinks in. This is it. This is the moment that changes everything. The impossible has become possible. The room, once filled with doubt, now erupts into a quiet murmur of approval. Ethan's heart soars as he realizes that Jeff Bezos, the man who had challenged him, who had forced him to prove himself, has just made his dream come true. But this isn't just about the money. It's about the opportunity, the validation, the belief that one man's struggle can turn into a story of triumph. As Ethan stands there, overwhelmed with emotion, he knows that this is only the beginning. The journey ahead will be just as difficult, just as uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, he feels ready to face it. He's been given a second chance, and he's not about to waste it. The stakes have never been higher. But for Ethan, the climb is just beginning. The dust has settled, but the impact of the moment is just beginning to unfold. Ethan stands at the helm of something much bigger than he ever imagined. A world where his ideas are no longer just dreams, but a tangible force for change. Thanks to Jeff Bezos, he's not just rebuilding his life, he's reshaping the future of urban living. The funding has been secured. The resources, once out of reach, are now at his fingertips. With Jeff's mentorship, Ethan embarks on the journey of developing his app. Late nights turn into breakthroughs. Moments of doubt transform into visions of success. What started as a spark of an idea has now become a force in the tech world. A solution to a problem that had gone unaddressed for far too long. As Ethan's app begins to grow, so does the ripple effect of its success. Urban landscapes begin to change. People who once struggled with basic issues, those overlooked and forgotten, find new opportunities in the world Ethan is creating. His app doesn't just solve problems. It creates a network of hope, a lifeline for thousands of others in need, much like the man he once was. With every success, Ethan regains the confidence he had lost. He stands taller now, not just as a man with a dream, but as a leader, a beacon of possibility for others who feel lost in a system that's often stacked against them. His journey, once defined by failure, has now become a testament to resilience and second chances. His purpose has been rekindled, and with it, a newfound responsibility to help others, to offer the same opportunities that he once yearned for. But the story doesn't end with Ethan's success. Jeff Bezos, the man who took a chance on him, reflects quietly on the lessons this journey has taught him. He's always been known for his calculated nature, his ability to make decisions based on data, risk assessments, and projections. Yet, as he watches Ethan rise from the ashes, something in Jeff shifts. This experience has reminded him of the power of listening to those who often go unheard. Those who are written off, discarded by society, but who possess within them the seeds of greatness. Jeff's willingness to take a risk on a man like Ethan has opened his eyes to a new kind of value, one that transcends spreadsheets and forecasts. The culmination of this story is more than just success. It's a shift in perspective. For Ethan, his journey has been about reclaiming his life, his confidence, and his future. But for Jeff, it's been about learning to listen, not just to the voices of the powerful, but to the whispers of the overlooked, the unheard. And in a final twist, Ethan pays forward the very opportunity Jeff gave him. He begins employing other homeless individuals, those struggling just as he once did, giving them a chance to rebuild their lives, just as Jeff gave him. It's a full circle moment, a reminder that the impact of a single act of kindness can ripple out and transform lives in ways we can't always predict. As the video closes, we see Jeff walking through the streets of the city, his mind deep in thought, when his eyes catch sight of another homeless person, someone just like Ethan once was. Without hesitation, he drops a business card in the person's path, the simple words scrawled across it, "call me." The camera lingers on the card, the message clear. Sometimes, it only takes one person, one moment, one chance to change everything. The story has come full circle, but the message remains. Hope is contagious, transformation is possible, and second chances are worth giving. If this story has touched your heart, if it's reminded you that change is possible for anyone, anywhere, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for next incredible tale of hope, as we look into the story of a CEO who went undercover as a janitor, learning more about his employees and himself than he ever could have imagined.